Go through this with me. You'll risk losing everything you care about.
Doesn't really matter now.
Of course it matters. Morgan matters, your family
Don't you
matters.
understand that for the first time in my life, I really know what I want, without any confusion or secrecy? I just want to be there for you. I think together we can claim what the Spauldings took away from you. Please, Mark, please let me help.
Amanda, if I thought that there was a remote possibility that we could prove that I'm right, I would beg you for your help. But I will not ask you to change your life and go through upside-down motions in your life on a hope and a prayer.
Not a hope to me. It's your right. Mark, it's your inherited right.
I know that. You know that. But the reality is I cannot legally prove it. And I doubt very much whether I'll ever be able to make anybody believe what happened to my family and me.
I believe it.
I almost wish you didn't. The other night when I told you my story, I almost wish you'd stopped me and told me I was crazy.
Why? I'm on your side now.
It is the losing side,
Mark,
Amanda.
I want to be able to help you, but you have to tell me how. I'd do anything, gladly.
You mean that?
Yes, of course I do.
Say goodbye to me.
What?
Say goodbye to me, and I'll say goodbye to you. It is the only way out for either one of us.
The only way out for us is for us to fight for what's yours.
No matter what the consequences, no matter how much you might stand to lose.
I won't lose you, will I?
You know better than...
Then we can only win what's rightfully yours, Mark. Together.
Mr. McCord, I beg of you, leave this alone. No good can come of this.
Mrs. Renfield, now listen to me. A few minutes ago, I think I may have stumbled onto the most encouraging, most valuable information in unlocking this entire mystery. So I am determined to...
To dredge up the past. To put us both through that horrible nightmare again. And in doing so, you jeopardize everything you've come to cherish with Nola and her child.
But that's just what I'm trying to tell you. I do not believe the jeopardy is as great as it was before.
How can you say that when you're putting your entire life in danger by going back there? I beg of you. Won't you wait a little longer before leaving? If not for yourself and Nola, at least for me?
Please, Mrs. Renfield. Nothing you can do or say is going to change my mind. I am determined to go through with this. Now, please. I'm going up to my lab. When Gunther comes, send him up there. I realize how difficult this is for you, Mrs. Renfield. Your loss in this has been greater than mine. But I've spent the last several hours poring over all the information I've gathered on this mystery. And I think I found something that might make a difference. All the fears that we've had. So please, pray for me. Wish me Godspeed. Those are the two things that I need from you now more than anything.
Mr. McCord, feels responsible for killing, was my husband, Professor Archibald Renfield.
Mrs. Renfield, I cannot believe that you would stand here and tell Nola that.
I told her because I think it is time that Nola knows the entire truth, and perhaps now she will prevent you from going back to Tankir.
All right, Nola. Nola, is this what you want? Knowing that I may have murdered the one man I considered my father, living with that guilt, is this what you want?
I'm sorry, I had no idea.
Well, it was a very confusing and tragic turn of events for us. The pain that I felt when I learned that the boy I loved, like my own son, was responsible for killing my husband, was like a wound to my heart from a sword. Well, even though I mourned my husband's death, at the same time, I knew that what people were saying about Mr. McCord was not true.
Well, what did you do?
I left Edinburgh. The house that my husband and I had lived in all those years. It is still standing the way I left it those years back. But I knew that I could not stay there. I knew that I couldn't put things away or settle the estate. All I had to do was in my mind that I must find Mr. McCord, that I must go to him and do what I could to help him.
But what could you do, Mrs. Renfield?
Well, I could give him comfort and safety. But that is why we fled.
and became fugitives.
And changed your name.
But we cannot hide from the past anymore.
Nor can you go to prison for a crime that you did not commit. You will lose everything, and you still cannot bring Archibald back.
Now listen, I must find out the truth, and I will face my destiny.
Very well. Then I too will come to terms with my past.
What do you mean? You're not planning on going to Tankir?
No. No, you go to Tankir if you must, and I shall return to Edinburgh.
Whatever for?
I must go home and put that part of my life to rest.
No. No, I want you here. For Nola and the baby.
No, I am sorry. Nola, I hope you will understand that I too must do what I feel is right.
But Mrs. Renfield, quitting going to Tankir is not going to bring your husband back, and you going to Edinburgh is not going to bring him back either.
Nola, there is another reason that I must return home. If what I fear is realized, then Mr. McCord will be brought to Edinburgh for trial. You see, the university in Edinburgh sponsored that entire.
And then I'm going to go with you.
No, I want you here.
Why?
Because I want you here with people who care for you and love you.
Mr. McCord is right. You must stay here with Anastasia.
But it is very important for me to go.
No. Now listen. Don't forget that there's a chance that I may prove my innocence.
We must all pray that that is possible. But no matter what the outcome, I must go home. It's time that I closed up that house that holds so many memories for me. It will be a way of ending that part of my life.
Will you be okay going by yourself?
Frankly, I don't know how I'll feel. I had come to accept Archibald's death. When I return to that old house with all its memories, and I start putting his things away, it will all seem so terribly final. Go to Tankir. Resolve your past once and for all, and then come back to us. Godspeed, Sean. Godspeed.
You know, it's funny, when you were talking about Lucille Wexler earlier, all I could think about was my mother. She's really the only family I have left now.
Jennifer told me a little bit about her. She said that she was having difficulty even recognizing you.
Yeah, she's been that way for years. Frankly, it's easier not to think about her anymore. I know that may sound cruel, but the thought of what happened to her hurts too much. You know, I think I may have been able to forgive them for what they did to my father. But I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive Brandon Spaulding for what he did to my mother.
Mark, was your mother with you at all after your father died, or was she institutionalized right away?
No, not right away. We lived together for a short time. Even though she was very ill, she did everything she could to make things easier for me. But I could tell there was something wrong. She used to cry for days and days on end.
I can understand that. To have to live with the fact that your husband committed suicide.
That's just it. Friends, doctors tried to tell her what really happened. She refused to believe that my father really took his own life.
I'm sure she just couldn't accept it, Mark.
I suppose. The doctors say that's a part of her illness. She refused to believe what she couldn't accept, so she retreated to a world of her own making. You know, in a way, I guess that's what happened to my father. He refused to believe his failings with Brandon Spaulding, and so he retreated to his own world, too. But he never failed. He was robbed. He was robbed of everything. Everything he tried to provide for his family. And it was so unfair. So unfair.
How is she?
Oh, she's still upset.
Is she still planning to go to Edinburgh?
Well, yes, it's important to her.
In spite of all the pain it's going to cause her again.
She wants to clear up her past, just like you do.
Oh, yes, and I'm supposed to understand that. Is that what you're trying to say to me?
Yes, I think you should. Look, there's just one thing that I don't understand. Why you did not tell me that it was Professor Renfield who was the one that was killed in that accident.
Nola, listen, I tried to explain it to you. I began so many times, but I just couldn't. I was ashamed and afraid of what you'd think of me. I love that man. I loved him so much. He was like the father I never knew.
I know.
You know, he used to give of himself so much. He was very loving, very caring. He's the reason I became an archaeologist. He used to take the time, no matter what, to explain projects he was working on, and I just wanted to follow in his footsteps.
Oh, look, Mrs. Renfield knows that you love him.
Then why is she so set against my going on this dig?
Because she's afraid that if you go on this dig, that she'll lose the last person in the world that she loves, and I feel the same way.
I feel the same way, too. Nola, listen. I think I may have come across something today that gives me reason to hope.
And what's that?
Well, earlier today, Stacy and I were on the floor playing with her blocks, and I
don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm not quite sure what it all means either, but I think it gives me a chance to believe that perhaps maybe I wasn't responsible for that wonderful man's death.
But you still have to go back to Tankir and make sure.
Yes. As soon as possible.
How soon?
I'm leaving tonight.
You know that dream you spoke of? The one that Lucille had for you to become a concert pianist?
Yes?
I had a dream, too. Mine started the day my father's lawyer told me how Brandon Spaulding drove my father to suicide.
What was it, Mark?
That someday I'd be able to tell my mother that I'd gotten back what was rightfully ours. That she would slowly start to get better again. But of course I know that's impossible.
It's not too late for you. You were cheated out of just as much as your parents were.
No. My father was cheated out of his life. My mother was driven insane by Brandon's lies and deceptions. I was just cheated out of my inheritance.
And a mother. And a father. And a normal, happy family life.
I sometimes wonder what would have happened if my father had been made a general partner of Spaulding Enterprises. I think that's why I came to Springfield. I thought if I got close enough to all of this, it would rub off. I'd be able to have it all. But I know that's not possible either.
Anything's possible if you want it badly enough.
You really believe that, don't you?
Yes, I do. And someday you will too, because I'm gonna make you believe it.
Picture of Stacy and me. All right. What happened to the bandage on your arm?
Oh, I took it off.
Well, you're not supposed to do that.
Dr. Marler said it would be all right. The only reason I kept it on was so I wouldn't worry Mrs. Renfield needlessly.
Oh, where is Mrs. Renfield?
She's out in the car.
I want to say goodbye to her.
No. Nola, she's still upset. She said she would call you as soon as she got to Edinburgh.
All right. Well, is there anything I can do for you? You know?
No, I think I've packed everything already.
Yeah. Guess you're all set to go then, huh?
In a moment.
Don't you forget something?
No. No, I haven't. Nola, do you remember me telling you about my mother?
Oh, of course I do. I think she's a very brave woman.
Yes, she was. Very brave. And you remind me of her a great deal. She told me once when I was young that I would meet a woman. A special woman. A woman who would know my secret and still love and understand me for exactly what I was. And she said, when I met that woman, I was to give her this as a symbol of my undying love and devotion to her. Well, I've met that woman, Nola. I've met that woman in you. Would you take this?
It's beautiful.
Would you wear it?
Wear it. Would you put it on?
Of course. I love you, Nola.
I love you. I'm so afraid I'm gonna lose you.
Don't be. Don't be.
Now you come back to me now.
I will. I promise.
Quentin.
Yes.
I'm gonna say something before you go.
What?
I'm real sorry about. I just want to clear it up, but I want to say I'm real sorry about getting you so angry about that Henry Chamberlain thing.
It's all over with now. No damage was done.
Yeah, but it could have been awful.
Oh, I know it could have been, and it still could if Henry were to find out I was son before I was ready to reveal it to him. Would you promise me something?
Well, anything.
Stop. Nola, if there ever comes a time when you want to tell Henry who I am, for whatever the reasons, good, bad, indifferent, right, wrong, please, just look at this ring and remember that it symbolizes the trust we share and the secret we share. Promise me you'll never tell him.
I promise.
No matter how long I'm gone, or no matter what happens to me.
Oh, all right. I won't say anything if you don't want me to.
Nola, I love you more than anything on this earth. But if you ever revealed who I was to Henry, there would be no hope of a future for us. You understand?
I understand. love you more than I ever thought I could love anybody on this earth.
I love you too.
Please come back to me.
I will, Mother. I promise.
Okay, come on.
Are you? Take good care of yourself.
I will.
And you?
You take care of yourself,
I
too.
will. Kiss Stacy goodbye for me, will you?
I will.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll call you from tank here.
Okay. Oh, please don't.
Remember, Noah. Remember, no matter what happens, that I'll always love you.